Welcome to Paranormal Almanac with your host, Kurt Sandvik. This week's edition of Paranormal Almanac, let's talk about monsters. Not monsters, but monsters. But first, as always, we have shout-outs. I got a lot of show to get to because it took me an extraordinarily long time to release this episode. I've had this outline just about done for 2 weeks now almost. Come on, there you go. Hi, Rum, and Rum's already making an appearance. She's excited. It's been a while. But yeah, I've had this episode just about done, the outline done for about 2 weeks, but I haven't had a night off to do an episode. I know, like, oh, you're so cool. No, not that. It's just been, day job and then a variety of things that have come up. So tonight was the only night this week that I have available to do an episode. So let's get into it. First, we have shout-outs. Shout-outs going out to the Demolition Diva. I love roller girls, so that's cool as hell. Shout-outs to Sheila McHale, Leviathan, The Wicked One, Scott Mills, Ilsid, Brian, Heather G's, Jeffrey B., Scott Thiessen, Chani the Pommy. Hey, howdy, hi. I got to stop right here for a second because I don't think I've talked about it on an episode yet. That's how long it's been. Chani the Pommy, she lives in New Zealand. She has no reason to ship something at an exorbitant cost all the way out to me in California. But she did, and it's cool as hell. Hold on. There it is. I wanted to get the card. So it's this amazingly cool Maori tiki symbol. And it says, the tiki is a very ancient Maori symbol and good luck charm. There are many legends as to the origin of tiki. Some say he came from the stars and was the first man of the world. Others suggest a link with the creatures of the sea. The owner or wearer of the tiki is seen to possess loyalty, great inner knowledge, and strength of character, besides the fact that it is just gorgeous. The tile itself is going up in the bar. Now that it's not 114 degrees out, I can put it up there just once I get a chance. But I cannot thank Chani enough. Extremely sweet to do so. Thank you so much. It was very, very cool. All right, back to the shout-outs. Matt Lord, JT, Doogie Hoare, Mike G, Tracy B, Jeff Lightfoot, hey, howdy, hi. Richard Powdrell, Lori Bedard, Alec, Karen W, Duran, Lori, Rebecca, and Stephen Shared, hey, howdy, hi. Jane N, Jennifer, Heather G, your friendly neighborhood skinwalker, Zuzus. What's it? Nico Share and the Mouse, Mark and Tina, Tortuga, Mike from Jersey, Jay Bizzle, Andy, Tracy, hey, howdy, hi, Virginia Mailman, Tony the Magician, so cool, Jason, Vicky, Crow, Lobito Works, Glacier Main, Isabel, Jen, Amber, Tracy, Kelly Jo, Menace the Beast, Kick-Ass Magic, Robot Webcomic, Sandy, Paige, Couch, Batman666, Scott, Andrea, Melody, Vanessa, Marisol, Becca, Jake, Charlotte, and the Beasties, Elizabeth, Sherry, gotta pause again, Sherry reached out to me about hanging out, and we're going to hang out, and I'm so excited. And don't worry, I'll be filming it and all that fun stuff, so you'll find out more in just a few weeks, but so excited. Sherry's the best. Art Muffin, Tim, hey, howdy, hi. Kenneth, Alexandra, Giorgio, Zosa the Demon. Hayden, Cindy, Ashley, Carrie, Robin, Will, Lauren, Russell, Isabel, Audra, Dorian, Cindy, Paula, Jerry, Jeff T, Joe, Lawrence, Melissa, the Lauren Strawn, hey, howdy, hi, Veronica Autumn, J. Mark, Carolyn, Jaden and Ashley, Todd, Jamie, and Elijah Hendrickson. I just hung out with Todd and Jamie. I'll talk about that in a minute. Dan, Laura Pitts, and Gamer Fan. The best. The absolute best. All righty. Let's get right on into paranormal news, because I got a lot of stuff to get to, not just paranormal news. I don't know why that played. It was not the button I pushed, but sure, why not? Building excitement for paranormal news.
Strange things happen every day. Keep watch out and be on your way. That's just the way the universe moves. But now it's time for paranormal news.
That's right. It is time for paranormal news. The first story in paranormal news. If you can't tell, I'm kind of bantering to get. There we go. The first story in paranormal news. Extremely rare ancient seal with winged genie was discovered in Jerusalem. That's right, a rare stone seal that dates back millennia has been found in Jerusalem, the Israel Antiquities Authority said Thursday. The black stone seal has been dated back 2,700 years and was found near the Temple Mount's southern wall. The stone was found amid an excavation in the Davidson Archaeological Garden, where many ancient relics have been previously discovered. The seal is engraved with what might be two names written in an ancient form of Hebrew, according to the authority, and bears the profile of a winged man wearing a hat or a crown. Israel's Antiquity Authority archaeologist, good Lord, Israel's Antiquity Authority archaeologist Dr. Philip Vukasachevich, sure, why not, said the figure is likely that of a winged genie. It's the first time such a relic has been discovered in the region and shows the impact of the then dominant Assyrian Empire. It's a very rare and unusual discovery, and it's cool as hell looking. The object was likely worn by a man who had a senior position in the administration of ancient kingdom of Judah. The stone seal would have been made by a local craftsman and worn as an amulet to show authority. After the man died, the amulet was passed down to his son, who added the two names on either side of the genie. It's possible the son even engraved the names himself because it's carved in a sloppy manner, but it does show further evidence of the reading and the writing abilities of that period. And it's a freaking djinn. There's a genie on this thing. That is cool as hell. So, yeah, I can only assume he who holds this amulet controls the djinn. But, so if someone could get that for me, I'd really appreciate it, because I want to control a djinn. But up next in paranormal news, we got another haunted. Now it's under contract, but still too good to not talk about. Another haunted house for sale at 1410 Jackson Avenue in New Orleans. That's right, for only $4 million, you could own, well, this person now does because it says active under contract. This person owns the Buckner Mansion, one of the most haunted homes in all of New Orleans. How freaking cool is that? I want to own one of the most haunted homes in all of New Orleans. But if you're thinking, well, you know, that does me a whole lot of good, Kurt. I was going to buy that, but it's under contract. Well, I have another house that is not under contract that I have found out is actually haunted. When I posted about it, I was like, oh, this thing's got to be haunted. Turns out it is. It's at 139 Scarborough Road, Briarcliff Manor in New York. For only $4.5 million on 9 acres, you get 14 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, 15,530 square feet of a haunted house. It was built back in the 1890s. It's known as the Manor House. It was built for and lived in by Walter Law, the founder of the village of Briarcliff Manor. But after that, it then became a Freemason, a Masonic lodge, a Masonic house. It served as a clubhouse for the Metropolitan Masons with the golf course on the property, and was once in 1928, and was once the venue for a notable boxing match between Jack Sharkey and Carl Brisson in the early 1930s. It was actually designed with input from the Olmsted brothers, who actually are the architects or whatever, designers of Central Park in Manhattan. The neighbors to the manor would have included such prominent families as the Rockefellers, the Shepherds, the Spires, the Macys, the Webbs, and the Astors. So the oldest, richest, white, crazy people in the world. It's got to be Illuminati. It's got to be cool. But I have found out it is indeed haunted. Paranormal stuff, all the basic paranormal stuff. I don't have to tell you that. You guys know what the basics are. Now I'm just clicking through the pictures because this place is just phenomenally gorgeous. I could literally get lost in there. And I could see myself getting old and crazy living there. It would be amazing. Alrighty, let's keep going, though. I got a lot to get to. That's right, Rom. Got to keep going. Up next in paranormal news, the truth is out there. Congress to get update on UFOs from the Pentagon as Gillibrand presses for data. That's right. New York Senator chairs of the Senate Armed Services Committee subcommittee on emerging threats and capability. Whew, that's a terrible title. The panel tracks UFOs under the term UAP. It's a priority for me. I think it's very important that we continue to make these things publicly available, Gillibrand said recently. She said she wants a progress report on how many unidentified aerial phenomena we assessed and analyzed. Now, how much of that is actually going to get out to us? Probably very little. But again, that's not the important part. The important part is that people keep putting pressure on them to release data, and eventually they're going to release something they shouldn't have, and it's going to blow us all away. I'm going to keep on saying that. Alrighty, up next in paranormal news. Overwhelming belief in aliens is dangerous to society, a new paper warns. Kurt here. No, it's not. F you. An academic in England says Earthlings are having too close of an encounter with UFO conspiracies, and it is no longer a quirk, but a widespread societal problem. Yeah, explain that to me. How is that a widespread societal problem that we're not freaking out because, we're not all like caught up in religion and bullshit? We can actually go, yeah, aliens are real. It doesn't mean that God isn't real. It just means aliens are. It goes on to say this belief is slightly paradoxical as we have zero evidence that aliens even exist. Tony Milligan, a research fellow in the philosophy of ethics at King's College in London, wrote, well, Tony, get your head out of your ass. There's lots of evidence. What's more, given the vast distances between the star systems, it seems odd that we'd only learn about them from a visit. No, it doesn't. God bless America. I hate that argument. It's one of the dumbest arguments. It is the Neil deGrasse Tyson of arguments, and I absolutely hate it. Alrighty, up next in paranormal news. Let's keep on keeping on. UFO hunters believe this metal shard could be alien technology, so they sent it to a national lab. Oh, are you kidding me? Now it's not going to let me read it? I read it just before that. It doesn't matter. You guys get the idea. These people came across a metal shard. They were like, hey, I think this metal shard could be alien technology. So they sent it to a lab, and they said that the lab they're going to make everything completely transparent. They're going to release all the data. The specimen raised eyebrows because it appeared to be capable of causing levitation. Kurt here. I don't know about that. But it seems to be something funky, some kind of metal, and hopefully they can actually get the actual results back and let us know. I'm sure it's going to go missing like everything else, but whatever. Up next in paranormal news, Utah resident shocked after capturing eerie close-up footage of a flashing UFO. I was blown away. That's right, an unidentified Reddit user, who always makes me think, oh, this has got to be true, said that they uploaded a 50-second video of the May 2nd sighting from their home in southern Utah. The video showed a small orb in the sky rapidly changing color. As the resident zoomed in on the object, the light flashed between red, blue, green, and white in a matter of seconds and appeared to have an aura surrounding it. They said, I was blown away by what I saw. All right. Well, Kurt here, I would like to be blown away by what you saw. Can I see it, please? Why did this website freeze up on me? All righty. Let's get to the freaking video. No. This is one of over a dozen similar UAPs I saw that night. Yeah, that is true. There was a lot of UAPs seen over Utah around that time, but I want to see it for myself. Okay, here we go. There's no sound. That's all right. It is a dot in the distance that they immediately lost in the sky. Now they're zooming in on it. It could be a Starlink satellite, actually. Oh, no, the way it is flashing is kind of weird. But it's so far off in the distance, it could be just a police helicopter that's flashing. So, I'm not going to put it. If you want to see it, find it online. It's not going to be too hard to find. Alrighty, up next in paranormal news. If it was better, I'd throw it up on the Facebook fan page, is what I was going to say. Make sure you guys join the Facebook fan page. I think we're almost at 1,000 or just over 1,000 members. It's a cool freaking group. Feet of Death. New Bigfoot movie filmed in the Pacific Northwest is now streaming. It's supposed to, if I click on it, it's supposed to play the trailers. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it is. No free ads. No free ads. No free ads. Suck my dick. You're not cool.
1.
Well, it's counting down from 20. It's at 5. Now it's at 2. Now it's at 0.
First, live,
Are you
local.
kidding me? Can you
This
play?
is Fox 12 Now.
Why did we have to count down from 20 for that?
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. You want to pull that up? That is our live look there at Mount Hood.
Yeah, shut
and
up.
director. We go into what it took to get this made, kind of where he started, graduating from Oregon
I only
State
wanted to watch the
University.
trailer. You guys can do it. It's called Feet of Death. It's a new Bigfoot movie. I wanted to watch the trailer or play the trailer for you guys. I don't want to listen to Fox News talk about the trailer. So, sorry. Moving on. I got too much stuff to get to. Is there more than one Loch Ness monster? Kurt here, not a monster, even on this episode. Experts believe new video could show proof. If there is actually more than one Nessie living in these fabled Scottish waters, it would certainly explain a lot. The earliest known reports, we all know about that. And we're back to, oh, yeah. And Owen O'Fadigan. Owen O'Fadigan. Yes. He put forth a similar theory last week when he captured video of what he believes to be evidence of more than one creature in the water. I was amazed at the spectacle. I could not get my head around the size of both wakes and the amount of disturbance they were causing. Boy, I love that man. And let me play the video. Yep. There he is. Just, yeah, there are 2 really ginormous wakes, and I don't see a boat. So, well, I don't know why. I wasn't doubting you. I definitely wasn't doubting him. He's the freaking best. Very cool. Alrighty, let's keep going. I got stuff to get to. Up next in paranormal news. Go inside one of America's most haunted homes is under new ownership. Cleveland Ghost is one of the Northeast Ohio's most popular tour operators, especially this time of year as they take thrill seekers inside some of Cleveland's most haunted houses. Now, the company behind Cleveland Ghosts has announced the acquisition of one of America's most haunted houses, where, according to a press release, more than 100 years ago, 8 people, including 6 children, were brutally murdered in their sleep. Organizers say the case remains unsolved. The house is known as the Villisca. Oh my God, it's the Villisca Axe Murder House, Kirk. Come on, you know this. It's located in Villisca, Ohio. Yeah, that's cool. You can actually tour the home or stay the night if you go to, and this kind of wraps into my next segment, a new segment. Not really new, but I'm just calling it a new segment. So it's going to be in paranormal news and that segment. It's going to be the connecting thing. But if you go to usghostadventures.com/Villisca-axe-murder-house. I'm sure if you just go to usghostadventures.com, you can find it. You can stay there. You can stay overnight. You can book a tour. And I would absolutely 100% love to stay overnight. Let's see how much it costs. If I was able to get there in 2 days, how much would it cost me? It doesn't tell me. Why are you not telling me? Okay. Oh, apparently you can only rent a room that night. But you can stay overnight in the Villisca Axe Murder House if you dare. Discover why it's renowned as one of the America's most haunted locations for only $199 a night. That's actually really reasonable. If there's not a billion people staying in that house that night, you've got a really good private paranormal investigation on one of the most haunted houses. That is incredibly cool. So if you guys are listening, U.S. Ghosted Adventures or whatever I just said, U.S. Ghost Adventures. Yeah, if you guys are listening, I'll do an episode I will promote the hell out of you guys if you let me stay overnight. I will promote you guys repeatedly. That is cool. Alrighty, up next in paranormal news. We got to keep going. Self-professed archbishop. Oh, where did there we go. The headline went away for a second. Self-professed archbishop known for healings and exorcisms has been denounced by Rome. Wah, wah, wah. That's right, a self-professed Catholic bishop and primate, I don't know, does that mean he's a monkey, has been denounced by the Diocese of Rome as a fraud, following concerns raised by the Diocese of Fatima last year. Presenting himself as a bishop and a primate of an international Catholic prelature, Sure, called the St. Peter's and Paul, well, that just sounds fake, Salvatore Micallef has organized liturgies which has been involved in healings and exorcisms in various parts of the world, including both at the famed Marian sanctuary of Fatima in Portugal and in the city of Rome itself. All right, well, you got in there. You shockingly got into a couple places you shouldn't have, but you're caught. Dun, dun, dun. Alrighty, now this next news segment that I was talking about. I don't have a theme song yet, so if you write theme songs and you want to write one for promoting the paranormal community, because that's what I'm going to call it, please send it in, paranormalalmanac@gmail.com. But I want to promote the paranormal community, like I just did with the usghostadventures.com, the Villisca Axe Murder House. I want to promote people in the paranormal community because, again, as you guys know, if you listen to my episodes or just listen to the one episode with Amy Bruni, I think we should be helping each other, not trying to hurt each other. So, as an olive branch to that, I would like to tell you guys about storiesinthecemetery.com. They do paranormal investigations at, let me try to get to it, sorry. Where is it? Paranormal investigations at a cemetery. I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Here we go. The interactive ghost hunting experience. Stories in the Cemetery, an interactive ghost hunting experience, providing the only paranormal experience in Charleston. I believe that's what, North Carolina? I think so. So you can check availability. So I'm going to do that right now because I want to tell you the dates here. Yeah, so it's actually really reasonable. It starts at 9 o'clock. It's $59 per person, and it seems to be a very time-intensive and very awesome paranormal investigation in an actual cemetery in Charleston. And that is incredibly cool. So the guy that does it, his name is Nick. If you're in that area, please, in the Charleston area, please check it out. Let him know that Paranormal Almanac sent you, because I think it'd be cool. He's got some great reviews on TripAdvisor and on Peak. It is really cool. I want to click on... Can I click on any of these? No. I was going to say I want to click on it because I want to make sure I get you the right state. But I'm pretty sure it's Charleston, North Carolina. No, I'm not going to WhatsApp you. I would just like to know where you are 100% at. Well, I'm 99.9% sure it's North Carolina. It's Stories in the Cemetery. Yeah, I can't find it on here. That's my only would say, maybe just do a little bit more and say where you guys are at. But I guess if you're looking at it, you would know. But anyhow, storiesinthecemetery.com. Go give them a check out. If you're in the Charleston area, please take the tour. Tell them Kurt from Paranormal Almanac sent you. Alrighty, up next in promoting the paranormal community, our old friend Barnaby Jones is in the news. I was like, I gotta read this one. Cryptozoologist Barnaby Jones to unveil alleged Bigfoot evidence at Oak Creek Library event. That is cool. I'm very happy for him. Residents of Oak Creek and those interested in Bigfoot should mark their calendars for an event at the Oak Creek Public Library on October 15th. Barnaby Jones, a seasoned cryptozoologist and paranormal researcher, will present evidence and accounts of Sasquatch sightings. Known for investigating various paranormal reports, Jones will focus on Bigfoot during this event, according to an announcement from the city of Oak Creek. That is awesome. You can still go vote for him as well to be the... where is Oak Creek? Now I got to find out where Oak Creek is. Oh, Oak Creek, Wisconsin. There we go. See, that's the way you do it, peoples. Yeah. So if you're in the Oak Creek, Wisconsin area, on October 15th, the program will take place from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Oak Creek Library. And again, please go see it. I really want you to support Barnaby. I think he's a great guy. He does a lot for the paranormal community, and I want to make sure that I tell you guys all about him. He's just a great one. So that's cool. Alrighty, that about does it for the promoting the paranormal community part of this segment, but I do want to talk to you about some experiences that you guys can go to, and if you go to them on the right night, you can go to them with me. The first one. Do you guys know the CBS show Ghosts? So I fell in love with the BBC one, I think during the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken. I fell in love with the BBC one, and then I heard, oh yeah, they're going to do a CBS one, and I was like, no, but it's so good, don't do that. Oh, was I wrong. I am the first one to admit the CBS hit comedy series Ghost is brilliant. I absolutely love all the characters, the changes that they made. I love everything about the main actors in the show, like Rose McIver. Oh, she's so good. Oh my God, she's so good. But everybody in this show is fantastic. Brandon Scott Jones is brilliant. I mean, I don't want to start picking out names. They're all freaking amazing. The entire cast is amazing. But if you're in LA, oh, do I have something for you? Because you can join us in the dark. There is a 60-minute in-person haunted house experience based on the CBS hit comedy Ghost. And I'm going to go to it. They invited me to it. How freaking cool is that? That's right, CBS and Just Fix It Productions, Creep LA, are creating an interactive 60-minute show called Creep LA Ghosts, to be held on select dates in October in 2 historic mansions in the West Adam area of Los Angeles, with tickets available for purchase already. They've been out there. Go get them. You should have got them on September 9th. What are you doing? I went to one of their events back in, I don't know, either just before or just after the pandemic. And I got to say, Creep LA knows what they're doing. They're amazing. So Creep LA Ghosts, once again, it'll be open to the public from October 4th through the 27th on select dates throughout the Halloween season. Guests are encouraged to book early as space is extremely limited. The experience is 60 minutes with timed ticketing starting at 7 p.m., ending at 10:45 p.m. The experience is 18 plus. Tickets are $70 plus taxes and fees. And I know what you're thinking. Ooh, that's kind of pricey. No. It is incredibly worth it. They do such a great experience. You become part of it. You really do. I'm trying to find, it was in 2021. There was a thing called Hollow House that I went to, and it was just freaking cool. But if you have the chance and you want to go to it, I'm going to be at one. Let me find out what date I'm going. And, come along with me. What the hell? Why not? I'm going October 4th at 6 p.m. Creep LA Ghosts, October 4th, 6 p.m. You buy a ticket, you'll be in my group, and we can go have some fun. And that'd be cool to hang out with a paramaniac at this event. But they are incredibly cool. It's incredibly worth it. Alrighty. Up next in paranormal news. Oh, I should read you from Variety, who's talking about this. The Ghosts immersive collaboration with Halloween-themed Creep LA opens to fans this October. Dubbed Creep LA Ghosts, the activation is a collaboration between the show, like I just talked about, and a Halloween-themed event. The 60-minute will be held in October in historic West Adam Mansions. Is something new? Where's the new stuff? We're excited to present a haunted house experience that brings the dead of Ghosts to life for fans this Halloween season. Thanks to our partnership with JFI Productions, Creep LA team, I don't know what the hell that was, Creep LA team, we envision attendees smiling their way through the Ghost Woodstone Mansion-themed welcome experience before screaming their way through the immersive, scare-inducing neighboring mansion for a night they'll long remember. I am so excited. Tailored for visitors over the age of 18 with 6 showtimes, maxed at 15 people per session. See? Tight, small, cool. It'll recreate the lobby of the show's Woodstone Bed and Breakfast, where photo ops, show memorabilia, and more will be stationed. Then across the street at another mansion, ticket holders will face a scare-filled journey exploring various ghost stories, different types of spirits, and representation of the afterlife. I'm so excited. Again, come with me. It'd be cool to hang out with you. Next, I want to talk about Cassie.co, CAASIE.co, where you can get your own digital billboard. These are the incredibly cool people that got me a billboard at the haunted Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, you can get one too. Trust me, if you go, I can't afford that. No, you can. I'm hoping to get another billboard from them in October, promoting something I'm going to be talking about in just a minute. But moving on, Haunted Honey. I hope you guys have watched the Boozy Haunts, the, sister show that I made, the Paranormal Almanac Presents Boozy Haunts. It's on YouTube. There's only 2 episodes out right now, but trust me, there will be more very soon, about making haunted mamajuana. And part of making haunted mamajuana is you need honey in mamajuana, and I used haunted honey. You can get your own haunted honey from bguyswithaz.com, and it's honey that is actually taken, or hives that are actually taken from mausoleums in Louisiana. So, dead people honey. It's cool as hell. All right, head on over to tpublic.com/stores/paranormal-almanac for a bunch of new styles. I just released a crap ton of new styles. I think 5 or 6 of them. Check those out. And finally, and next. Finally, it'll be in a second. And next, knightsofthejack.com. Another amazing, cool thing. I remember when I said last episode that I was like, what's going on at Halloween's my favorite time. I want to do stuff. All of these companies came forward and be like, you want to do stuff? Do this. And I cannot wait. It's called Knights of the Jack. It's an immersive Halloween experience. It is cool. There's a 30 miles northwest of Hollywood, tucked in the Santa Monica Mountains, there's a strange and shadowy wonderland that everyone's been whispering about. This season, we're back and brighter than ever with our notorious Halloween event. We've summoned jack-o'-lanterns from every mystical sphere and devised a spooktacular illuminated light show under the autumn sky. It's cool. You walk through the outdoors, and they have so many jack-o'-lanterns lit up. It is incredible. It's a 1-mile trail at the King Gillette Ranch, and you got to bring your cameras. I'm going to bring mine. I'm going to film it for Boozy Haunts. How am I going to make it connected to Boozy Haunts? I don't know. I'll find either a haunted bar or I'll bring some haunted liquor. But I won't drink at Knights of the Jack. Don't worry. I just meant I'll have it with me. knightsofthejack.com. Check it out. It's absolutely incredible. They were very, very nice to invite me. Again, if you want to go the night I'm going on September 27th. So come with me. I think it'd be cool. Let's hang out there too. I just want to do Halloween stuff. It's the best time of the year. But finally, and I mean it, this is the actual final one. Then we're going to take a quick break and they'll be at the show. Don't worry. Finally, the field guide book that I've talked about for years for beginners is out now. That's right. If you go to Amazon.com, you're going to find a cool little book called Paranormal Almanac, a beginner's guide to ghost hunting, by a gentleman named Kurt Sandvig. What? Oh no, please stop. It's a very cool, very thin field guide. I wanted it to be so you could take it with you whenever you paranormal investigate. There is checklists, there's tips and tricks, there's spaces for you to write your own EVP questions, and there's some example EVP questions. I threw a lot in there, but I didn't want to overwhelm anybody. My point of this book was I want anybody, and I mean anybody, to be able to safely do a paranormal investigation. You don't have to spend thousands to do a paranormal. You don't have to buy every freaking gadget. You don't have to do all of that crap that you see on TV to do a paranormal investigation. No, I'm going to show you how to do it quickly and, more importantly, cheaply and safely. So I hope you guys check it out. I think the Kindle book is out as well if you're not into whole, actual physical copies. But it's meant to, hold on. There we go. I pulled it out. Yes, it's meant to just roll it up, take it with you. There's checklists before you go. There is how to keep yourself safe. There's my recommendations for what, if you do want to buy, what you should buy. And then if you want, to spend a lot of money, you want to do a ton of paranormal investigations, my suggestions on some paranormal gadgets to buy. Keeping yourself safe. Let's see. The types of hauntings There is how to keep something from following you home. There's tips and tricks on a paranormal investigation. There's the investigation itself. There's a ghost hunting checklist. Here are the things that you need to take with you to safely paranormal investigate. Then what to do at the location. Some tips and tricks on a REM pod and an EMF meter. EVP sessions. Again, how to do them, when to do them, and some sample questions, and then spaces for your own questions. Things to remember throughout the night because it can be a little bit daunting, a little overwhelming. And then finally, reviewing your data, reviewing the audio evidence, reviewing your video evidence, and, some special notes from Kurt himself. So hopefully you guys check it out. Once again, the title is Paranormal Almanac, A Beginner's Guide to Ghost Hunting by Kurt Sandvig. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with the actual episode. That was a big intro. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry because there's a lot of cool stuff to get to. We are back. On this week's edition, let's talk monsters. No, not Nessie. She's not a monster. Based on this awesome song by the Beatles, or I don't know who did it, but whoever wrote this incredibly cool song that won't play right now, this incredibly cool song, really? Oh, you son of a... Whoever wrote this incredibly cool song, YouTube, you're not doing what I want you to do. Oh, come on now. Now you're just being a jerk to me. Whoever wrote this incredibly cool song...
When people
that's
hear
an
my
ad.
music,
That is not an incredibly cool song. Now YouTube's playing along.
Not a monster. Not a monster.
Look out there. No, it's not an otter. Yes, right over there. No, she's not a monster. She's just Nessie, and she's swimming, having fun. That's right. Nessie spotted the awesome hit song by Paranormal Almanac. Based on that song, where are some other cryptids that are called monster? And let's see if any of them are actually monsters. My guess is nope, but let's find out together. Alrighty, first of all, we got to find out what is a monster. So let's go to that first. The dictionary says, monster is an imaginary creature that is typically large, ugly, and frightening. Okay, so Nessie is real, so not a monster. She's not ugly, nor is she frightening, so nope, not a monster. And then we go to Alexa. What is a monster? Oh, you can't hear. Monster is a being that has some abnormality that is improper to the natural order and is fearsome in appearance. Alrighty, so that's Alexa's answer. And then there is another answer from Merriam-Webster who says... Uh-oh, my microphone stand. There we go. A monster is an animal of strange or terrifying shape, one usually large for its kind, an animal or plant of abnormal form or structure, and a threatening force. Okay, and then finally, you can't have a definition without going to the Urban Dictionary. A monster is something you ask your parents to check under the bed for if you're a kid, Kurt here, or an adult. Monsters are still under beds. Hang your foot over a bed. You know that little fear you get when you hang your foot over a bed? Yeah, it's because there's monsters. A monster is also an energy drink that teenagers and some adults drink to get energy. Yeah, that's a crappy definition, but now we kind of have a definition. What about me? What do I think a monster is? I think that to be a monster, you have to do harm or something cruel to others. Scary? Sure, yes. To be a monster, you have to be scary as well. Do harm, be scary. Ugly? No, I don't want to body shame monsters. But in my definition, it has to do harm to be considered a monster. So that's the criteria I'm going with. So here are a bunch of cryptids that, air quotes, big time, officially have monster in their title. And for this first one, we go to Crawfordsville, Indiana, and all the way back to September 5th, 1891. That's right, we're going way back for this first one. The Crawfordsville Journal reported that two ice delivery men saw, quote, a strange phenomena that hovered in the air above their location. describing it as a horrible apparition that filled them with dread. And they weren't the only ones to see it. And don't worry, I'll give you a better description in a second. Because this strange phenomena was also spotted by a Methodist pastor, Reverend G.W. Switzer, and his wife. Unnamed because why give women actual names? Newspapers from the 1890s. They had seen the monster when he stepped out to his well to get a drink a little after midnight. So they watched this thing as it twisted and squirmed in the air. They saw it descend towards a neighbor's yard as if to land, where it disappeared from view. As the Reverend, good Reverend, walked out to the street to go look into the neighbor's yard, the object once again took off in the air. After watching the object for some time, the Switzers just went, yeah, okay, I'm bored. And they went to bed. Okay. Wait till you hear what they said they saw. And then could you imagine just going like, all right, let's go to bed. The Crawfordsville Journal described it as about 18 feet long, 8 feet wide, moving rapidly through the air by means of several pair of side fins. It was pure white, had no definite shape or form, resembling somewhat a great white shroud that fitted with propelling fins. There was no tail nor head visible, but there was one great flaming eye. Kurt here, remember that part, the flaming eye, for just a minute. And it also had some sort of a wheezing, plaintive sound that emitted from a mouth which was invisible. They said it flapped like a flag in the winds as it came on and frequently gave a great squirm as though suffering unutterable agony. Yeah. That is a great description, quite the description. And then they just went, well, we watched that for a minute. Let's go to bed. It's back in the 1890s when nothing happened. And that was their response. They're like, oh, it went over to the neighbor's yard. Let's look. I don't think it killed the neighbors. Let's go to bed. So, I mean, more chill than I am. According to the interviews conducted years later by the Crawfordsville reporter and Fortean Society member Vincent Gaddis, it wasn't just those 4 people that saw it. Nope. Hundreds of residents of Crawfordsville saw this thing in the sky on the following night. That's right. It wasn't just seen one night. The next night, it was back. With some claiming they could feel the monster's hot breath as it swooped over them. Again, remember that too. Okay, so you got 2 things to remember so far. Flaming red eye and now hot breath. Other newspapers wrote about the sightings, like the Indianapolis Journal, the Brooklyn Eagle. It went overseas as well. It got the attention of an early paranormal investigator, Charles Fort. Like I said, it's reported all over the country. My guess, international as well, but I can't prove that. The Crawfordsville postmaster, after all these stories came out in all these papers, was then hit up by a crap ton of mail. People wanting to know what it was, where it went, what's happening over in Crawfordsville, and also a bunch of people that just called bullshit on the whole thing. Oh, and a bunch of religious people, apparently not that pastor, who were saying it's the end of days in Crawfordsville. Seems bad, right? Seems really bad, but get this. 2 local men, I'll call them 2 local brave men, John Hornbeck and Abe Hernley, followed what they called the wraith about town, and then they finally discovered it to be a flock of many hundred birds called killdeer. Yeah, it was a flock of birds. Why is a flock of birds going on at midnight? I don't know. I know why a flock of seagulls used to go on at midnight, but that's a different story. So the Crawfordsville Journal suggested that Crawfordsville had this brand newly installed electric lights that freaked out the birds, which caused them to hover above the city at midnight, and that the birds' wings and white underfeathers resulted in this mass shape, this horrible apparition, this monster, if you will, and that's what resulted in misidentification. So, Charles Fort, who loved stories of the bizarre and the unexplained, he was like, well, I got to write about this in my book, and he did. It's called Low in 1931, but Even though he knew of these two men that figured out what it was, he left out the part about the birds being the monster. So the book was, people would take, kind of like the internet now, where I say, like, it's the same crap that's regurgitated again and again and again on sites. That's what happened, but in book form, without the explanation of killdeer being the explanation. So let's assume that it was a flock of birds and that hundreds of people that saw it couldn't figure out it was a flock of birds, even though they see them all the time during the day in 1890s or now. You know what birds look like. You know what a flock of birds look like. It doesn't explain most of the descriptions for me, like the fiery red eye that was seen or the eerie cries. But sure, let's just assume it was actually birds and people were just that dumb and the birds were that dumb. Electricity was new. The birds undulated in the sky, lit up by these newfangled lights. Okay, maybe. But that doesn't explain the important part of this episode. Is it a monster? Forget about the fact that you know it's birds. Just based on the descriptions, the hot breath, the fiery red eye, the cry that seems like it was an utterable agony. Is it a monster based on my criteria? It didn't harm anyone. Sure, a couple of ice delivery men probably had to change their pants, and some pastor who was out way late in the middle of the night to get a glass of water probably thought he was seeing the devil, but just went to bed anyway. He doesn't care. But otherwise, no. No monster for the first one on this episode. I am officially saying not a monster. So let's keep trying. Let's go with this next one. For this next one, we go to Santa Paula, California, and it's called the Billywhack Monster. That's right. The Billywhack Monster. We go back to the World War II. It's about as best of the closest dates that I can find is World War II-ish dates for the first known sighting of this monster. Now, this one seems to be a local urban legend dating back from World War II, but let's see. Kurt here. Spoiler. It's a stupid urban legend. All right, so the Billywhack Monster was seen around Santa Paula in Ventura County, or more specifically, the Camulus Ranch. It is described as a large, half-goat, half-ape-like man with a ram head, sometimes carrying a large club, mostly seen by Santa Paula high school students. Which that right there was enough to make me go, yeah, it's going to be an urban legend. But let's keep going for shits and giggles. This Billywhack Monster was known to throw large 50-pound rocks at students' cars, or it would pound on the hoods, leaving dents. In the 50s, a 9-year-old boy reported being attacked and clawed by a weird animal near the Billywhack Dairy. Oh my God, the what? Don't worry, I'll tell you all about the Billywhack Dairy in just a minute. He said he had scratches across his arms and his back. Okay, now we're getting into some monster category, right? Then in 1964, it terrorized several hikers for several hours. Monster time. Also in 1964, a Los Angeles Times article reported that deputies found a young boy carrying a sword who said he was going off to slay the beast. That kid's cool. That's like D&D level cool. The same article reports that a woman who leased the land once had to hold off 43 monster-seeking children with shotguns until the authorities arrived. So she's brave as hell, too. They were all trying to go to the Billywhack Dairy. The what? Don't worry, I'll get to it in just one second. So far, kids are way more monster than the Billywhack Monster. No shock there, but let's keep going. So why is it only seen in this area? Well, high school students have a dumb backstory for this, too. That's right, we finally make it to the Billywhack Dairy. The Billywhack Dairy was once a state-of-the-art, very advanced and modern dairy farm. It apparently contains underground rooms and tunnels. You know, like all good dairies do. When you think of a dairy, you think of underground rooms and tunnels and modern equipment. No, I've been to dairies. I've milked a cow at a dairy. A couple of them. My Uncle Chris had a dairy farm. There was no underground rooms and tunnels. It was scary, it was spooky, but that's just the barn. Anyhow, the Billywhack Dairy was built by August Rubel, who moved to Ventura County in 1922 and established the dairy in 1924. Now, he was from Zurich, Switzerland, you see, and served in the American Field Service in France from 1917 to 1919 as the Office of Strategic Services, or the Office of Strategic Services, or the OSS. I don't know if you know what an OSS agent is, but it's very James Bondy, spy, high-techy kind of crap, which is around the time that James Bond books were getting popular. So, and the movie. So the OSS, they had Reuben perform experiments beneath the dairy, including trying to make a super soldier. Sure, okay. So what ended up being made, though, in the underground dairy OSS lab was the Billywhack Monster, which then, of course, broke free and escaped, only to go out terrorizing specifically local high school students. It all makes so much sense now, doesn't it? But if you were brave enough to go to the dairy ruins, well, hold on to your hats, kids, because this episode right here of Paranormal Almanac just got to its treasure part of the episode, because it said, again, if you're brave enough to go to the dairy ruins and search around, the walls and floors of the abandoned dairy are said to be stuffed with millions of dollars worth of uncashed checks made out to August Rubel. Fun fact, uncashed checks that were made out to a dead guy would be absolutely worthless in reality because, well, you know, they were made out to a guy that died in the 1940s, and that's not how checks work. But sure, stupid high school kids say, no. These uncashed checks, they're worth millions of dollars. All you got to do is find them and cash them, and then you're a millionaire. If you can survive the Billywhack Monster. So, do I think the Billywhack Monster is real? Nope. Can I find any names or evidence, anything attacked any kid in that area ever? Nope. But let's ignore that for a second. How do I get my hands on those checks? Oh, I can't wait to get my hands on those checks. Oh, wait, no, I meant, let's see, does this qualify as a monster? Well, if it attacked a kid, I'm basing it on this stupid story. Sure, all right, it's a monster. It didn't do much damage. And then some other kid is like, well, screw that. I'm going to take my sword and kill it. If it attacked a kid, then yeah, it's a monster. A totally made up and not very well made up monster, but sure, you got yourself a monster. Moving on. Let's talk about the Grafton Monster. For this, we go to West Virginia. June 16th, 1964. Grafton Sentinel reporter Robert Cockrell made one of the first sightings of the Grafton Monster, sometimes known as the Beast of Grafton, but that doesn't help us with this episode because it's an all-monster episode, so we're going with the Grafton Monster name. Now, he was driving home from work at about a little after 11 p.m. on Riverside Drive along the Tygart River in West Virginia when he saw a 7 to 9 foot tall, 4 foot wide white monster with no head and seal-like skin that whistled. Kurt here, how did it whistle with no head? No idea. So, he's driving, he sees this monster, and he's like, well, I gotta write about it. I'm a reporter. It's my duty to take to the Grafton Sentinel and write a story about the Grafton Monster. And he does. And when he does, man, do the local people freak the F out. Like, they've been waiting for a monster to, oh, there's a monster? So they start forming not a search party, but multiple search parties. This is 1964. Come on, people. To hunt the monster. And a bunch of unverified, no-name eyewitness sightings started happening, all with that exact same description as Robert's. Now, one possible but terrible explanation for the sighting is that the monster may have resulted from an individual pushing a handcart loaded high with boxes walking along Riverside on Tuesday night. In the late evening, half light, the person and the handcart took on a weird shape. What? I've seen people with shopping carts full of crap, homeless people, unhoused people. And I've never once gone, headless monster that's whistling at me. Not once, not ever. This guy that oh my God. I got my windows open because it's a nice night. There's a skunk in my vicinity. Oh yeah. Hopefully it's not in the backyard. Rom, where are you? Okay, good girl. You stay there. You stay inside. Oh yeah, it's a whole lot of skunk in this house. Where was I? Oh yeah, I've seen unhoused people, homeless people, pushing carts with 10-foot worth of crap in it, and I've never once thought I saw a headless monster. All right, so there's a monster. Well, let's just go to the monster criteria checklist, because there's no more information about it. It's a local legend, like the Mothman. It has its own festival and commemorative plaque in town. Like, it's a big deal in the town. But does it pass the monster criteria check? Hold on, I've got to close my door. That is a horrific skunk smell. All right, does it pass the monster criteria check? Nope. Remember, the only thing it was doing was wandering along a road, whistling out of its ass, and it didn't harm anybody. Not a monster. So let's get to the Lake Worth monster. That's right, for this one we go to July 1969 to Fort Worth, Texas. I had a buddy when growing up that was from Fort Worth, Texas, named Sean. I doubt he's listening, but if he is, hey, howdy hi. There was a big white Bigfoot-looking cross between a goat and a man, possibly with scales. It was seen living in or near the Lake Worth, hence the name, the Lake Worth monster. It was seen by a lot of people and even photographed. Sure, it's a horribly blurry big white blob of a photo, but it's still, quote-unquote, proof. Alan Plaster, who took the photo, said he saw a man-sized white furball walking while he was out driving past the Nature Center in 1969. Now, he says since he believes that the sighting was a prank because whatever it was trying to be seen. It wanted to be seen. So not much of proof, but how about those sightings? Newspapers reported the sightings, including one in which the monster landed on a man's car after jumping out of a tree, and another in which it threw an automobile tire at a group of people. Wow. Maybe I should add throwing tires or rocks to the monster criteria. But local police investigated the claims. They found no evidence of the monster in the Lake Worth and Greer Island area. And according to one reporter, the Goatman legend, that's the other name for the Lake Worth monster. But again, I'm going with Lake Worth monster because it's the monster episode, not the Goatman episode. But the Goatman legend was spread via summer camp stories, where camp counselors told children to, quote, listen carefully and you'll hear his cry on clear nights like tonight. And then I could only assume the cries were other camp counselors fucking or being killed by Jason. But then reports of the monster stopped when the summer camp ended and school resumed. So, sounds like another monster made up by horny high schoolers. In 2005, a reporter at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram received an anonymous letter from someone claiming to be one of the 3 high school classmates who in the summer of 1969 decided to go out to Lake Worth and scare people using a tinfoil mask. In 2009, Fort Worth, Texas Magazine published a report about an unidentified man who claimed that he himself had been the perpetrator of the tire throwing incident. I guess so in this one, the only monster was man. Does it fit the monster criteria? No. Even with the throwing a tire or, banging on cars. Again, it's just walking around or screaming. That seems to be the 2 biggest things that these monsters do. So let's move on. Now we go hopefully to the no high schoolers live nearby, Alkali Lake, Nebraska. I'm sure you can guess the name of the monster by now, but if you can't, we're going to be talking about the Alkali Lake Monster, also known as Nebraska Nessie, or the made-up Latin name of Giganticus Brutervius. Sure, why not? Doesn't matter. It's made up. And now it's called the Walgren Lake Monster, since they changed the name of the lake. But basically, it's a lake monster, okay? That's what it is. It's described as a very large catfish, maybe a large mud puppy, or even as a giant horned alligator beast that devours livestock and waterfowl. Its size is varied from the size of a yearling steer. You all know what a yearling steer looks like. To 2 foot broad and 10 or 12 feet long. One report said it spouted water like a whale. Okay, more monstery sounding than Nessie, but I'm into it. Let's keep going. So for the first reports, we go back to the Hay Springs newspaper in 1921. In an article on September 16th, 1921, headlined, "If it isn't a whale, it's a whaler of an animal." Then, on October 21st, another article happened about a proposed seining to catch the monster. But game officials said they didn't think they had a seine or seine large enough. It's a trap. It's basically a catfish trap. Large enough to hold him. So the undertaking has been delayed indefinitely. The August 11th, 1922 issue reported the huge water animal again seen on surface. So it's being seen a lot. Still cool. All right. Still good. The Omaha World Herald picked up the story in 1923 when a man named J.A. Johnson claimed that he and his friends saw a water monster that was 40 feet long, dull gray or brown in color, with a horn-like object between its eyes and its nostril. They said it looked similar to an alligator, but was bigger and heavier than an alligator. When the creature noticed the men, it emitted a dreadful roar, thrashed its tail about, and then dove underwater. All right. Now we're talking monsters. No, not one stupid high schooler. Sounds awesome, right? Well, no. If you remember, I did an episode about lake monsters a long time ago, and this story was one of them. This lake monster story was picked up by several other natives, including the London Times. By far the most vivid picture of the actions and features of a medieval monster, which for 3 years has been terrifying the natives of the vicinity of Alkali Lake near the small town of Hay Springs, Nebraska, USA. Well, that story was told to them and just about every other newspaper by a real man, not by the name of J.A. Johnson, who was not real, but a man named John G. Maher, M-A-H-E-R. Maher, who is infamous for being a hoaxer. Repeatedly. He kept doing it, and people kept going, well, he lied about the last one, but this one, he seems right. I'm all right, now this one's real. Okay, so he lied about the last two, but this time, he's onto something. That John G. Maher, he knows what he's talking about. No. So with that, does it meet the monster criteria? No, because it's another freaking hoax. What's it take to get a real monster on this episode, people? It's not looking good for this episode, I'm telling you right now. But let's keep going. Let's go to the Pope Lake Monster, also known as another goat man. This one is part man, part goat, part sheep. It's reported to live beneath a railroad trestle bridge over Pope Lick Creek in the Fisherville neighborhood of Louisville, Kentucky. Alrighty, let's pause right here. What part is goat and what part is sheep, and how do we know? Because the only difference I can think of between a sheep and a goat is one is fluffier and whiter in some parts. So is that the only difference between a goat and a sheep? They both do that kind of crap. I think they both got like evil eyes. What does sheep's eyes look like? Hold on. Let me Google sheep's eyes. Yeah, no, sheep's eyes are equally as creepy as a goat's eye. Well, all right. What's the difference between a ghost or a sheep? A goat or a sheep. I know what a ghost or a sheep is. Sheep or goats? Sheep are covered in wool, while goats have fur. Here we go. Sheep's tails hang down. Goats' tails point up. So if you're looking at them from the front, you go, all right, is it wool or is it fur? And if you're looking at their ass, sheep's hang down, goats' tails point up. There you go. Oh, goats can also have beards, while sheep do not. Good to know. There's your sheep or goat thing. So anyhow, Pope Lick Monster, also known as another goat man. Legend says it uses hypnosis or mimics human voices to lure people walking on the trestles to their doom. And, well, the trestles, people walking on the trestles doom part is sadly true, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. Now, the legend says it uses an axe to hack you up and kill you, to eat you, I assume. Well, where did it come from? Some say it was a circus freak who vowed revenge after being mistreated, or the monster escaped after a train derailed on the trestle, or the monster is really the twisted reincarnated form of a farmer who sacrificed goats in exchange for satanic powers. All right, here's your deal, people. You get one backstory, and you stick with it, okay, monster people? You got a monster in your area, and someone says, what's the backstory on that monster? You get one. You don't get three. You can't keep changing your mind. You get one and you stick with it. My recommendation, circus freak, it's played out. Monster that escaped after train derailed. Why is a monster riding a train? That one's out. It twisted reincarnated form of a farmer who sacrificed goats in exchange for satanic powers. Sure, go with that one. There's going to be a lot of follow-ups why a farmer wanted satanic powers and what happened, but let's go with that one. Now, here's the deal. Like I kind of hinted about just a minute ago, let's talk about the very real deaths associated with the Pope Lick Monster, but not in the way you would think. That's because several people have died on or near the train trestle at Pope Creek while out looking for the very made-up monster. Okay, people? At best, you're going to see nothing. And at worst, a train will freaking kill you. Because in 1988, 17-year-old Jack J.C. Charles Baum II was hit and killed by a train. And another man was injured while trying to cross the trestle, out looking for the Pope Lick Monster. 1994, a man was killed by a train after his ATV overturned on the trestle, trapping him on the tracks. In 2000, a 19-year-old fell to his death after encountering a train on the trestle while out looking for the monster. April 23rd, 2016, a 26-year-old tourist, Rachel Bain from Ohio, died after being hit by a train while searching for the monster. Her boyfriend survived by hanging on the side of the trestle as the train went over. On May 26, 2019, Savannah Bright, 15, was pronounced dead at the scene after she and another teenage girl, Kaylee Keeling, were on the train tracks near the Pope Lick Trestle. Keeling survived and was taken to the University of Louisville Hospital. There are other reports online of people being seriously injured, all trespassing on this very, very active train trestle. So if you take one thing away from this episode, it is not worth going to the trestle to see the Pope Lick Monster. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. Don't go out there. There's better places to go for walks than on an active train trestle that kills people, that is known to have killed people. All righty. Monster criteria time? No, not a monster, but that train sure as hell is. Jesus Christ. Put up some fencing around there so people can't get on there. Do something. How many kids got to die trying to find this stupid freaking thing? And there are a lot more on TikTok that are out there looking for the Pope Lick Monster because it's real. I saw it on Reddit. The fuck it is. It's not real. Don't go. Moving on. Alrighty, from there we go to Riverside, California, a local one for me. It's known as the Riverside Monster. We go back to November 8th, 1958, when Charles Wetzel was driving in the city of Riverside, approaching where Main Street crosses over the Santa Ana River, now the South Riverside Avenue, and he encountered, well, Riverside Monster. It's right there in the title. You guys, it's well over an hour in this episode. You haven't picked up on this yet? It's also known as the Riverside Bridge Monster or the Brain Tickler of Riverside, which is not accurate anymore because my night, I talk about my day job often, but I never talk about my nighttime job as a stripper. And I am known as the Brain Tickler of Riverside. It was going to be the Brain Tickler of Burbank, but I didn't want people to follow me home. So, go with me this. Anyhow, this dude, Charles Wetzel, he's out and about driving, sees a monster. He said it was tall, standing on 2 legs, with the longest arms he'd ever seen. And I got to tell you one thing. If there's one thing I know about Charles Wetzel, 2 things I know about Charles Wetzel. 1, he's seen some really long arms in his time. And 2, he makes some damn good pretzels. He said those longest arms he ever seen had clawed hands, also had a body covered in leaf-like scales, with a round scarecrow head and glowing eyes, no ears or nose, and a protruding mouth that gurgled. All right. Gurgling mouth is the grossest description on this episode yet. Here it is as he told it. As he neared the point where North Main Street crosses the Santa Ana River, he found that the river was overflowing. The road had slowed down. Overflowing the road, and he slowed down. Suddenly, he noticed that the radio signal was drowned out by static. Almost simultaneously, so that's not simultaneously, something leapt out of the underbrush and landed right in front of his car. He said it had a round, scarecrowish head. It's like something out of Halloween. It wasn't human. It had longer arms than anything I'd ever seen. When it saw me in the car, it reached all the way back to the windshield and began clawing me. I think he meant clawing at him. It didn't have any ears. The face was all round. The eyes were shining like something fluorescent, and it had a protuberant mouth. Boy, this guy's got some really gross descriptives. He later recalled that the thing's legs stuck out sideways from the body, and the skin looked scaly, like leaves. As it clawed at his windshield and screamed or squealed or screeched, depending where you get your info, he reached for a .22 caliber pistol that he kept under his seat, but then he thought about it. He said, what would Kurt do? He doesn't want me to shoot at fucking Bigfoot. I'm not going to shoot at this monster. So he said, I'm going to change my mind because opening the window or shooting through the one thing that separated him from the monster would be a bad idea. Smart thinking. So he floors it. The thing tumbled off the hood to the ground, not caring what the thing was or particularly concerned for its safety. Charles Wetzel ran over it. He said he felt the scraping underneath and heard more screaming and gurgling from the creature. Well, yeah, now it's gurgling because you just crushed in it. You caved in his chest cavity, so it's going to be gurgling at this point. He hightailed it to the nearest Riverside police station, where police officers noted scratches on the hood and the windshield and smears along the oil-covered underside. But returning later to the scene with bloodhounds, they found nothing. The next night, another driver reported a very similar experience. And that's been it. And that was it. That was all there was to it. Now, the case is even more bizarre, though, because July 28th of that exact same year, another Charles Wetzel encountered what appeared to be a 6-foot-tall brown kangaroo in Nebraska. So in the same year, you got 2 Charles Wetzels finding 2 weird creatures. This Wetzel, he wasn't even how do you explain a kangaroo appearance in Nebraska any more than you can explain some gurgling thing that you just caved in its chest cavity with your car? It was a bad year to be a Wetzel. And I don't even want to tell you what happened to the 3 Auntie Anns that happened that same year, because it's all kinds of evil, messed up stuff. It's all kinds of like alien probes and stuff for the Auntie Anns. But yeah, 2 Wetzel's pretzels saw 2 creepy cryptids in the same year. But we got to stick with the episode. Monster criteria time. I guess it attacked him. No, not really. It kind of leapt out of the bushes onto the hood of his car. Then he freaked out. So it starts scratching towards the windshield. Then he took off running it over. Nope. Again, I'm going to call it. Wetzel is the monster on this one. Man, again, the monster. So let's go on to the Big Muddy Monster, which is the name of your sex tape if you're keeping track. That's right, the Big Muddy Monster. For this one, we go to Murfreesboro, Illinois, June 25th and 26th, 1973. Now, you have to remember, this is just before prime Bigfoot era, when people were talking about Bigfoot. It was, TV was talking about Bigfoot. In Search Of and the $6 Million Man just did, or will be doing in 3 short years, episodes devoted to Bigfoot. It would be nothing but Bigfoot on TV and in the movies. The Patterson-Gimlin film had already been out for years. And in this case, in case you haven't guessed, what is seen, the Big Muddy Monster, is some type of Bigfoot. So we're talking prime Bigfoot, or just before prime Bigfoot era. Now, there's 2 police reports. They're dated June 25th and June 26th, 1973. They're about the Big Muddy Monster and considered to still be some of the best Bigfoot evidence out there. They're very detailed reports, by the way. Now, the first report came in just after midnight on June 25th. When a couple had been, I'm going to air quote here, when a couple had been parked, Kurt here, fucking near the boat dock on the southwestern edge of Riverside Park next to the woods. The two people were 19-year-old Randy Needham and Judy Johnson. They never give her age. But they were very quick to say who were not married. And in the police report, it says who were not married. They said they were in the car because her dad didn't approve of him. So they went to the docks, again, air quotes, to discuss it. Kurt here, I'm just going to guess. They probably went to the docks to discuss it at least twice. 19-year-old guy, he probably discussed it twice. The first discussion was probably a really quick discussion in under a minute. The second one, he probably lasted about 6 or 7 minutes discussing it. But no, he wouldn't have lasted 6 or 7 minutes because while they were discussing, they heard a loud screaming sound in the wooded area and observed a, quote, large creature approximately 7 foot tall. The creature appeared to have light brown hair matted with mud. The creature appeared to be walking on 2 legs and was proceeding towards his car. So they pull out, or he pulls out, they take off. I don't know how you want to say it. They freak out. They see this creature, and they go, oh, God, we got to get out of here. And they start driving away. While they started driving away, after they got away from the damn creature, the monster, they started talking about, like, we got to tell somebody. We got to tell the police what we saw. But if we do tell the police what we saw, then everyone will know where we were and, what we were doing. But they decided it was more important to do that. So they go to the police station. While the officers who took down Needham and Johnson's statements were understandably skeptical of the whole thing, we're banging in my car, but we still both saw a Bigfoot screaming at us while we're trying to bang in the car. The police sent out Police Chief Ron Monwaring. Plus, some reports say Needham and Johnson. Other reports say just Needham. So just the guy, just Randy, not Judy. Probably still reeking of sex. And 2 patrolmen, Merrill Lindsay and Jimmy Nash. They go out to the docks to investigate the report. Officer Nash was the first to discover, quote, a plethora of peculiar tracks, approximately 10 to 12 inches long and approximately 3 inches wide, deeply impressed in the mud by the riverbank. So they're really deep. Whatever it was very heavy. He also claimed that as he bent over to inspect the prints from a closer vantage point, he was shocked to hear a horrifying screech nearby. So he freaks out, takes off, accidentally drops his gun as he panics. Great police work there. So they have enough evidence. They drive the kids back to the police station, or kid, and they release her before the cops headed back to the scene. Apparently still with Randy. This is where it gets kind of clustered depending on where you read it. I think that there was two separate investigations. Some reports say, no, it all happened with just one investigation, just with Randy, but it doesn't matter. So the police are out there with Randy. The cops hear the scream. Randy says, yep, that's exactly what he heard before. That ends the first investigation because they're so afraid they have to leave the area. But then, next night, the 26th, it happens again. This time, police dispatch a German Shepherd to pick up the trail after a woman called reporting another sighting. She told police that her daughter and boyfriend had seen the creature in a field behind their house. Yeah, I know. They're probably fucking too. Then, at approximately 10:30 p.m. on the 26th, 5-year-old Christian Barrel was playing in his backyard, which is located relatively close to the Big Muddy River. Grain of salt time. Every website says this, and I'm calling bullshit, but that little kid, 5-year-old Christian Barrel, he was out attempting to catch butterflies in a glass jar his mother had given him. Sure, I can get that part. That's fine. When he sees a giant white head looming up from behind the fence that separated his yard from the next door neighbors, the Ray family's yard. I don't buy this next part, but a lot of sites say it's true, so here we go. He runs inside and says, Daddy, there's a big ghost in the backyard. Okay, who's quoting a 5-year-old? Come on, people. The guy goes outside, sees the monster, freaks out, calls the police. Boom, dog's on the trail, followed it to a barn, but the dog refused to enter the barn. Police with flashlights enter the barn, but find nothing. They gave the same description, 7 to 8 feet tall, 300 to 350 pounds, pale, dirty white or cream-colored hair, standing on 2 feet. Then, on July 7th, another report comes in, this time from a carnival owner at Riverside Park on the south edge of town, on the banks of the Big Muddy River. He says he saw a tall, hairy creature that had been bothering the carnival ponies the day before, the little Shetland ponies that, kids get to ride on. They were like, hey, what's freaking out the ponies? And they go outside and look. Sure enough, there's a big muddy monster staring at the ponies. But he didn't report it the day that he saw it because he didn't want to disturb the customers. He wanted people to come to the carnival. So he kept it quiet until the next evening to report it. Several workers noticed the ponies trying to break loose from the trees to which they had been tethered. The creature was then seen watching the disturbed ponies from nearby, but in a non-threatening manner. Kurt here, non-monster-like manner. All right, hold on. I got to take a drink. So, Police Chief Ron Manwaring has since said, those are the most copied, most looked at reports in the history of our police department. Letters came in streaming from those as far away as California and New York, wanting a piece of information or a piece of the prize that was offered to capture the monster alive. That's right. Some company or some rich dude said, hey, if you can capture the monster alive, I'll give you a prize. An unclaimed prize, I should say, because they never caught him. That police chief, Ron Manwaring, said, there are only 2 cases that remain unsolved in Murfreesboro. But after 32 years, the case on the Big Muddy Monster still remains open to this day. It's an unsolved case because I can't tell you what it was. There were numerous sightings and people interviewed. He said that the 2 that came to the police station and risk exposing, that they were fucking, he said there was no advantage to them for them to come and report this, but he did. And he considers that one of the most honest encounters or honest reports that he had taken. He talked about one of the encounters. He said, my partner and I had gone down to the area where they saw this thing. He started traveling a footpath through the bushes and noticed a stench and a slimy film on the tree branches. Kurt here, oh my God. Maybe it wasn't a skunk I was smelling. Maybe it was a monster. All these monsters stink. They always stink like skunks. That's right. The first podcast ever talking about a monster to have a monster kind of show up, I guess. Sure, why not? I'll call it. He said, let's see. I saw the substance and I smelled the smell myself. Jerry Nellis, an officer with the Carbondale Police Department at the time and a trained dog handler, he was called to the scene with the dog. He said the dogs tracked the scent all the way to a barn, but once it got to the barn, they refused to go inside. He says, in my humble opinion, it was probably a bear. We never got any good views of the tracks, he said. Is there a Sasquatch? I don't know. Makes for a good story, though. And then that guy Manwaring said, I never did see it, but in my mind, I feel those people did see something. I guess it just remains a mystery. Alrighty, last monster criteria for this episode. I mean, it kind of messed with some ponies, or at least scared some ponies, so kind of monster-like, but other than watching a couple of 19-year-olds bang, or a 19-year-old bang his girlfriend, it really didn't do much else. I'm going to say a little bit voyeuristic, but not a monster. So there. I will say that there are a ton of monsters, like the Honey Island Swamp Monster, the Flathead Lake Monster, the Mogollon Monster, the Bear Lake Monster. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. But of the ones for this episode, there's a lot of fake monsters out there. Maybe we should stop calling things monsters unless they're really monsters. You see something. Well, actually, before I say that, let me get back to this monster, the last monster. It's white or cream color. As far as I know, a white or cream colored bear would be a polar bear. Why the hell would a polar bear be in Murfreesboro, Illinois in the 1970s? So I don't think it was a polar bear. I don't think it was a bear. I think it was a Bigfoot. But they just wanted to call it the big muddy monster because it sounds grosser, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, if you want to be called a monster, you got to like rip a kid's arm off. The kid's got to say, here I was walking and I saw a monster and it ripped my fucking arm off. Or you got to say like, this thing had like 17 eyes. Like, the really weird descriptions that were on this episode, but real. It's got to have some really crazy monster qualities to it. It can't just be a misidentified Bigfoot or some poor guy pushing a cart down the street whistling. It's got to be a real monstery monster for me to say, yep, that's a monster. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Which one of these monsters is the most monstery? Put it down in the comments. Write to paranormalalmanac@gmail.com. Let me know. I'm loving the fact that we're getting close to Halloween and people are starting to write in with their paranormal experiences. Yes, please. Do that more. Write to paranormalalmanac@gmail.com. Send me your own paranormal experiences because that's the one thing I love doing at Halloween time, and I'm going to do it again this Halloween time. But once again, I'm your host, Kurt Sandig, and this has been another edition of Paranormal Almanac, mostly not a monster. Hurts namarat, hurts namarat, hurts namarat, hurts namarat.